Update. My husband's ex is dying. Her last wish is to be with my husband. Original post. As the title goes, my 30 female husband's ex-girlfriend, 33 female, was recently diagnosed with late-stage breast cancer, and her last wish is to be with my husband, 35 male. My husband, let's call him Seb, and his ex Tanya became best friends after their breakup a couple of years ago due to her infidelity. They were together for 5 years. Needless to say, they remained in contact even before he met me. I would be lying if I say it never made me feel uncomfortable even once. It did, and it still does, because Tanya is still in love with my husband. She never denied it, and in fact, would even call or message me when she can't get hold of Seb. Aside from cancer, she also has some mental health issues. Thus, my husband would always tell me to be kind and patient. Seb is no longer in love with her, of course. She cheated, and Seb swore that he will never get back with her and that he only sees her as family. 2 weeks ago, my husband received a call from Tanya to tell him about the sad news. My husband cried with her and told her everything is going to be okay. They were on the phone the whole day. I need to mention that Seb and I moved to Australia a few months ago because of my job, and Tanya is in Canada. They mostly talk via long-distance call or WhatsApp. They've been in contact almost every day since we left, which always bothers me, but what can I do? After that call, my husband told me everything. To be honest, I felt bad for her and I genuinely feel sad. I asked him what's going to happen now, and Seb told me he's going back to Canada, which is a shock. He then told me that her last wish is to be with him. I didn't say anything except, what about me? He said if I can't leave my job, then he's going to visit me whenever he gets the chance. I walked out without saying anything. I've been avoiding my husband since the phone call, and have been ignoring him whenever he tries to bring up the conversation. Yesterday, I found out he already bought a ticket and is flying back home in January. I feel like he's abandoning me, but at the same time, I feel that I'm selfish for hating both of them. I'm honestly thinking of getting a divorce because obviously he's choosing her over me, but at the same time, I thought of why my husband is so attached to her. Seb considered Tanya and her family like his own, as he doesn't have one. She's probably like a sister to him now, but Tanya doesn't feel the same. She's madly in love with my husband, and him granting her wish will surely make her think they still have a chance. My entire life I've been putting others first. I've been very patient and understanding about their weird relationship. I feel sick, confused. I want to call her, yell at her for ruining my marriage, for trying to steal my husband from me, for using her sickness to get what she wants, for being a bee. I'm so mad at both of them. What did I do to deserve this? Now for the top advice before reading the update. First, her request is manipulative, inappropriate, and unreasonable. Second, info needed. By be with her, what does that mean? Like just be there to hold her hand or to be intimate or what? Third, I would straight up tell your husband that if he chooses her, that your marriage is likely over. Especially if her request includes intimate interaction. That was my thought also. Even if it's to just be with her, she's gonna try to bang that husband. Please, just once more. I'm dying. Yep, I think husband showed his true feelings here with his choice. Is he working? How will he pay for the visits? How kind of him to say he will visit his wife when he gets a chance. Is she even terminal? She has mental health issues. Did she just create this cancer out of desperation? As far as her marriage goes, it doesn't even matter. Your husband Seb has made his decision, and OP's definitely not at the top. She was a placeholder, while Seb's sensitive feelings for healing from old girlfriend cheating. OP, it's time for divorce, unless you can accept what you know. Seb needs to get his priorities in order, and sadly for OP, he seems to have shown his hand. A year from now, we will be reading about the great Canadian miracle. Yeah, I'm totally on train BS with her terminal cancer. I think it's a ploy to win him back, and all of a sudden she's cured. I'm sorry that happens to you. To be honest, he's shown you who his priority is now. I understand that Tanya's dying, but deciding that he will leave and come visit you, his wife, while taking care of his cheating ex-girlfriend in a different country? That's too much for me. Not to mention he bought the plane tickets without discussing it with you. Sure, you've ignored him, but his decision to go back without talking it out with you is the cause of this problem. Who in their right mind would ask a married man to care for her just because she's dying? I noticed that you said Tanya's his only family, but you're his family too. This is pretty much it. You can try and talk him out of it. You can give him an ultimatum. You can even go with him if he can work remotely. No matter what though, you know for a fact that he is willing to go without you. I'd recommend giving him some time. There is still 2 months until his flight, to see if he comes to his senses. He did just find out someone who is important to him is dying and may not be thinking totally straight. The day he leaves, though, begin packing up his things and put them in storage. Send the divorce paperwork to him in Canada. Edit/mini update. Thank you all for your comments and messages. I didn't expect my post to get this much attention. All I wanted is to get this off my chest so I can focus on work and other things. I've been a mess, and being in another country with no one, only my husband, is making my situation worse. While some people think that Tanya might be lying about her condition, unfortunately she's not. She was originally diagnosed a couple of years ago and has been on a treatment for it. Only recently she found out it progressed and is now refusing further treatment. I'm sorry I wasn't too clear about this. My husband said she's giving up. In fact, she wanted to give up a long time ago, but her family, including my husband, wanted her to fight. Is going back to Canada to be her support as per her request. Seb did suggest that I go back home with him, but my job here in Australia is a dream come true for me and I can't just abandon it, especially not for her. I know that divorce is the wise decision here. My husband obviously can't let go of her, and we can't build a life together if he has a baggage. I love my husband so much, to the point that I endure all of these 30 years. Thinking of divorce makes me feel like I'm dying, and I don't know if I will ever be ready for letting him go. I haven't talked to my husband yet, but I think he already knows what's going to happen. I apologize for everyone is asking for an update. As many have guessed, I am not a good communicator, which is why the situation got this bad. I am partially to blame for letting this happen to me, to us, but I already contacted a lawyer to know the next step. Again, thank you everyone for your comments and messages. It made me feel better. I feel horrible for wanting to stop a dying person's wish, and for being mad with someone who's helpless, but you all are right. I should also think of myself. Now for the updates over a year later. First of all, I apologize for those people who's been messaging me the past year asking for an update. I was a mess after what happened and couldn't talk about it even to my family. I was reminded of this post because someone messaged me on this Reddit account today. It's been over a year and a lot has happened. And I think I'm now ready to talk. Seb did end up flying back to Canada January last year. Before he flew, we talked about the situation, and I told him I've been in contact with a divorce lawyer. He was surprised. He said he didn't expect me to leave him just because he needs to be with his family. I remember at a time all I felt was anger. I was so mad that he's making it sound like I'm the bad person. Nevertheless, the conversation didn't end well. He left without any closure, but he said he will be back in March. I was left alone. January to March last year was the darkest days of my life. I knew I did nothing wrong, but I ended up blaming myself for everything. I hate to admit, but I canceled a meeting with my lawyer as I started to doubt if I really want to leave him or not. I love him so much to the point that I'm willing to accept him again when he's back. During the entire time he was gone, he rarely called to check on me. I had to call him most of the time. I know, I'm dumb. I feel so alone and sad. I begged for his attention, to give me some of his time, to be with me again. All those times, he kept telling me that Tanya needs him more. March, I was expecting him to come back so we can talk, but he didn't come back. He said he needs to stay more and promised me he will be back in May. I don't know what happened to me when I got that call from him early March to tell me he won't be flying back to Australia. At the time, I felt like there's a switch that suddenly turned off, because somehow I stopped caring. When he told me he won't be back until May, I knew I have to move forward without him. Fast forward to May, he was back. That day, we sat down to talk. He broke down and said, I can't lose you too. When he said that, I thought Tanya was gone. But no, she's not. And as far as I know, she's still alive to this day. I asked what happened and he told me that Tanya asked him to go back and be with me. He said that Tanya is sorry for everything. Sam didn't want to leave her, especially when he saw how bad she was doing. They had a fight, and according to him, Tanya wants him out of her life. If I was the same dumb person, I would totally accept him back. But at that time, all I can think was, he's only back because Tanya doesn't want him anymore. I let him cry. I comforted him and let him stay in my apartment, and a week after, I told him I'm divorcing him. At first, he refused to leave. It was a long and painful process, but on my birthday in July, he finally realized that he couldn't manipulate me anymore. By August, he was back in Canada. Divorce is not finalized yet, but we have been separated since he left. He tried to contact me several times last year. Tanya also tried to contact me. Everyone, including my family, tried to convince me to give him a second chance. But that day in March, when I finally came back to my senses, I knew nothing can make me change my mind. As of now, I'm doing fine alone by myself. I got promoted last year and moved to a bigger apartment near the beach. I found new friends and recently getting into Pilates. I've traveled Australia and New Zealand and met some amazing people. I feel like a completely different person. Last year was the major turning point of my life. Seb still bothers me from time to time, but he knows I couldn't care less anymore. I still care, but not as much. I've been told by our common friends that he's not doing well. He became an alcoholic and couldn't get a job because of it. He's mostly couch surfing because Tanya doesn't want him to live with her. Lol, that witch. Thank you so much, Reddit, for taking the time reading this in my post last year. Your advice means a lot to me. For those people who are in the same situation as me, please know that everything is going to be better. I thought I can't get through this. There are times I thought of taking my own life. It was hard, but I promise you it will be better. You'd be surprised how strong you are and how amazing life can be. What a wild read. I'm sorry that it took Tanya rejecting your ex to realize that he's losing you too. I remember reading your story and getting so mad for you. You deserve someone who prioritizes you and doesn't leave you hanging for months. I'm glad you're doing okay now. You are so strong. From a sincere Reddit stranger, I'm proud of you and how well you handled the situation. I'm wishing the best for you, OP. Congrats on a new life. I second your sentence saying OP is strong. OP, you might feel like you were weak when you were going through the worst period of your life last year, but you were just being human wanting to be with your husband who you married. I have no words for the pathetic human that is your ex. He doesn't deserve you, and hope you can finalize the divorce without any more drama and live a peaceful life with someone you deserve. I always thought she lied about the severity of her condition. I'm so glad you found your worth. I suspect she's ill, but not terminally ill. It's as if her doctor said, you will suffer migraines and cluster headaches for the rest of your life. And she said, the doctor said I have a brain tumor and I'm going to die. Agree. I honestly think he heard she was ill, blew it out of proportion to his wife because he thought he could have them both. Like the ex's illness gave him an in with her, and the wife would be none the wiser. He was trying to have his cake and eat it too. There was no way he got there, and after a few days or weeks, didn't figure out his ex wasn't that sick. He went MIA on his wife through that whole time because he couldn't talk to her, because other people were listening and he wouldn't have been able to keep his lies straight. Hugs. I am curious if Tanya was ever really dying. I'm glad you are moving forward and living your best life. My aunt had an advanced cancer. Doctors gave her 6 months max. She lived for 2 years. Sometimes the time does not match, but the end comes sooner or later. A friend of mine was given 6 months and was still hanging on after 6 years. She told me she was waiting for her kids to be in a place of acceptance that it was her time to die. OP, I am glad that you are living a life that you want and prioritizing yourself and your happiness. Last story. A planned pregnancy turned my husband into a monster. It feels like a cruel joke. Years before I met my husband, I was in such a toxic, abusive relationship that it almost ended my life. I spent years in therapy, bettering myself, figuring out why I accepted that type of love. I stayed single for years, and once I started dating, I made sure to keep an eye out on all red flags. Heck, I even took things slowly when there was nothing but green flags. Thanks to my ex, I was familiar with love bombing. I met my husband at work event and things just fell into place. I opened up and explained my past trauma and let him know that if we were going to date, that it would require a slow pace and patience. I won't say that he was perfect, but he was always kind, compassionate, and cared. We dated for about 5 years, engaged for 1, and married for a little over 3 years now. We recently bought our second home together. We both got promotions at work, so we sat down and talked about kids. He wanted a big family, and I only wanted 1 or 2. We agreed on 2, and we started trying. I didn't take long, and here I am 6 months pregnant. Still working, have swollen ankles and a back that won't stop aching. Other than that, I've been very happy and have what I thought was a supportive husband. 3 weeks ago, I found out that he was having an emotional affair and honestly probably a physical one. When confronted with the evidence, he admitted to not being attracted to me while pregnant. I'm wrecked. I haven't gained a necessary weight. I still take care of myself, even with a morning sickness that hasn't gone away. He's not sorry about it, but told me that I was being overdramatic when I cried. He is staying with his family until he can find a home to rent. He doesn't want to get a divorce. He's saying after the pregnancy is over, we can go to therapy and fix things. I don't want to. I cannot physically look this man in the eye anymore without feeling disgust. I have a text from him saying that he's my only option because no man wants to date a single mom. I'll be talking to a lawyer and figuring out how to divorce him. I just wanted to vent into the void today. For now, I'm going to DoorDash for some nuggets and a Frosty from Wendy's and be okay if I gain 5 pounds from it. Thanks for listening/reading. Now for the top comments. I swear these guys deserve an Oscar for hiding their true selves for so long. I would go as no contact as you can, if possible. Stay strong. You do not need that kind of nonsense in your life. Literally, this is so sad. This is why I get so mad when some people blame the women in similar stories, saying they should have chosen better. Like how? She was misled/manipulated into thinking this was the best choice. I wish the best for OP. I like to think I am pretty switched on. I own my own house, etc. I'm not dependent on anyone. But I managed to get into 2 consecutive relationships with horrible control freaks with serious issues. The second one was a full-on nasty gaslighter, etc., etc. He was the perfect boyfriend for months, until he wasn't. Then he was very difficult to get away from. It took me 2 years. I didn't turn him into one. He was already one, and manipulated the situation until he thought you were trapped. The fact that he thinks he can just drop out while she deals with pregnancy and birth, and then just pick back up afterwards, tells me you're 100% correct here. And he wanted what? A football team? Was he gonna step out every single pregnancy? Delusional. Guy's a downright manipulative jerk. He's feeding you lies of manipulation and putting blame on you being pregnant. You can do better and deserve better. He is not your only option. Love yourself and your child. Get out now and safely to have a healthy and happy relationship with your child.